Hey guys, this is my build guide for my budget Flicker Strike character. I'm gonna just do a showcase for Phoenix and then formed, and then we will talk about the build. I'm just gonna skip the breach. This map is a bit crazy. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so not too bad. It was a monster life mod, 37% more monster life. He would have died much faster otherwise. Yeah. All right. So now let's do the formed. Those rolls are not easy, so I might die over here. Crit and monster damage. Oh no. Let's try to get Hydra first. Oh no, it's gonna be Minnow. Okay, that was not too bad. Okay, well, that was pretty okay. I did go a bit low on life, but I think I did pretty okay. All right, so now let's talk about the character. My character's a level 100 right now, but actually I made another build and I swapped to this. I was playing Hollow Palm build before this, and now I've changed to Flicker Strike. So this is like a way faster mapping character. Alright, let's go over the skill tree first. So this is quite budget, I would say. So the budget for this build is around 15 divines, which, you know, it might not be a budget for a lot of people, but at this point in the league, I think if you just do normal mapping, you can earn 15 divines just by selling essences or something. So I think it's an okay budget. We have no cluster jewels, so, you know, saves a lot of money over there. I am using the traitor, which is a brutal restraint, and this one has flask charges gained mod in 2 places, I think, 2 or 3 places. But anyways, most of the mods are like useless for me. Like, for example, minion damage does nothing, minion speed nothing. Like, it's pretty bad. Just the flash charges gain, just 2 of them. Actually, I think there'll be like 3, I think. Okay, it's only 2 maybe. So 2 flash charges gain mod, and yeah, so that's a pretty bad brutal restraint. You can get way better than this, but this is what I'm using. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to like perma sustain my flask. So if I just use them over here, you'll see that they never run out. they will be like all the time on. And yeah, this way, like, you don't have to worry about like ever like, going out of Flask. It works in boss fights, it works everywhere. So I just love this keystone. You'll notice that I'm not using a life flask, which is a bit scary, but um, I am using a progenesis, which really increases the budget of this build quite a bit. And instead of this, you could swap in a life flask, and that would actually be, I think, so an easier playstyle. I just rely on this flask to save me, and it works most of the time. But sometimes I really do think of life flask would have been better than this. But yeah, you can. This is like the, if you have like extra divines, I would go for this. But without like this thing costs like 10 divines. So if you don't have that much, I would just suggest going with the life flask over here. This doesn't give me any damage, by the way. It's just for defensive purposes. Other jewels, this is just a life double crit multi jewel. The lightning damage does nothing for me. This cost me like, I think it cost me a divine, because double multi is super expensive. You can like get a single multi max life and then an attack speed roll, and that'll be like 20c, and it'll be almost the same damage as this. So I think, and if you get a double attack speed roll, you might even get better damage than this. So yeah, you don't need to spend one divine on the jewel. Yeah, and the skill tree is pretty simple. Some of the things that we are doing over here is actually we are going for freeze duration. And why is this, like, why are we doing alien scaling? And that is because we are using heat shiver, and this is giving us a lot of damage. So that 100% cold as extra fire, that's basically like 100% more damage. And so you want to freeze everything in the game, and that includes like pinnacle bosses. And the way freeze works on pinnacle bosses, it doesn't slow them completely, but they are counted as frozen in the game. So that's why, that's why I can actually kill them. I'm using the southbound gloves, and this can only kill frozen enemies. And as you can see, I could kill all the guardians and everything. So we are freezing everything in the game, but it's just that they don't get like frozen. All the other mobs get frozen. Like essences, your normal mobs are all like they're frozen all the time. Some of the other things to go over quickly on the skill tree. It's pretty basic sword skill tree. I've got crit, some more crit. I have taken the fortify wheel here instead of using the fortify gem, because I'm really like socket starved and I can't put in the fortify gem, so I actually had to get fortify over here. I'm getting my melee splash from this and additional strike from here. So yep. Some other important nodes, I would say, I am going for savagery, and I mean all the frenzy nodes. We are a raider, so we are stacking frenzy. Just let me go quickly the raider skill tree, and we are using the phasing side and the frenzy side. We are not caring about onslaught because yeah, it doesn't do much for our build. We want to scale frenzy as much as possible. It's a flicker strike build, so yeah. And then I'm getting suppression cap using this. We could basically not get suppression anywhere else on the gear because we're using uniques. So we really had to invest in a skill tree. And the raider is super awesome for this because you get 40% over here, and then using this and these two nodes, we are like spell suppression capped. Moving on, there is this Watcher's Eye. This is like a 150c Watcher's Eye. It's a one more Watcher's Eye, like the cold damage while affected by hatred. The Grace mod is useful, but like you don't need it. Like really, like it's useful in very small like niche scenarios. And the corruption does nothing for us. So yeah, nothing really expensive in the build tree. Moving on to items. So let's start with our weapon. We got a Paradoxica. This is a crit chance version, and this cost me 2 divines. If you go for the attack speed version, which is like way more damage, but that's like 16 divines. So yeah, it really skyrockets the budget, and I wanted to go for something cheaper than that, so I went for this. I'm using the enchant from Harvest, attack speed per 8% quality. You don't need it. It only gives me like 0.3 attack speed on the weapon. Just give me a second. No, I'm going to just get this trade. Sorry about that. Okay, he didn't want the item. All right, moving on. Then the other expensive item is Varal's Fur. So this cost me 2 divines, 2.2 divines or something like that. It's very cheap right now. I don't know why it's so cheap, but it's such an amazing armor. And the rolls on this are really bad, like the lowest armor roll and low life roll. I could use a divine on this, but you know, I don't want to increase my budget. So yeah, this ring I bought for 50C, 50-60C. It's just got some strength, resists, and it doesn't even have life. I actually, yeah, it's a pretty bad ring. And this one I crafted. You want to craft Aspect of the Cat on an unset ring because you want less duration, so that your frenzy keeps recharging really fast. You can see that my buff, it switches very fast, like 3 seconds, and it's swapped to it. So whenever this buff switches, that is when you gain your frenzy charges. So I never really run out of frenzy charges. It's always on. And this one, I bought the base with the fractured mod, and then I used Essences of Horror to get 4 to 7 added cold damage per frenzy charge. That's a lot of damage, and you're basically just looking for that and maybe an open prefix. And I got fire and lightning res, or I got lightning res, which was okay, whatever, I don't care. Then I just crafted minus mana cost, and after that I just had an open suffix, so I crafted Aspect of the Cat. And this ring is like a self-crafted ring, but if I were to buy it, this one could be a bit expensive. I would say like 2.5 divines, but if you craft it yourself, you can get it for like cheaper, way cheaper, like 1.5 divine. This belt is super, like, one of the mods on this is the most important, and that is the reduced flash charges used. Because for perma uptime of Flask, we really need this mod. Otherwise, you know, we are not going to get perma uptime. So we want reduced flash charges used over here, and then life, resist, whatever else, right? The other mods are you can change and swap around, but you want that reduced flash charges over here. This jewel is basically for getting corrupted blood immunity. As I said, I'm not using a life flask, and I have not got any bleed immune stuff, so I really need corrupted blood immunity. Otherwise, you know, I could like instantly die in a map. Our helmet is a heat shiver. It's basically giving us double damage. It's an amazing item, and it's super cheap. With the enchant, I got it for a divine. If you don't go for the enchant, you can get for like 2C or 5C. I don't know. It's like super cheap. The best enchant is actually damage per frenzy charge, but that's like 8 divines. So yeah, I didn't go for that. This is our best in slot amulet. Like nothing can beat this. We want so we, as you were seeing, like on Phoenix, Hydra, all of them, we were getting 50% shocks. So that's basically like 50% more damage. Like it's an unbeatable amulet. It also gives us resists and attributes, which we need. And I'm like allocating Ash, Frost, and Storm, which is over here. It gives us 30 elemental damage, and it gives us increased effect of non-damaging ailments. So we want to scale our non-damaging ailments as much as possible to hit the shock cap and the freeze cap. Another important item that I'm using is Southbound Gloves. Over here it says your hits can only kill frozen enemies, but since we have crit capped and we are always freezing, basically you can kill all enemies. I've done like Shaper with this and stuff like that, and you can kill even Uber Pinnacle bosses with this, no problems. And it gives a lot of life, resist, and cold damage to attacks, which is, we want to stack as much flat cold as possible. And this one came with a Corrupt of Max Frenzy, which cost me a divine. So 1 divine, 2 divines, 2 divines, that's 5 divines. This one is like whatever, 10C. This one 1 divine, 6 divines. This one a divine, 7, and this one is 50C, and this one is like an ag. It's like no cost. So Dark Ray Vectors are the best in slot boots. They give us crazy movement speed. They give us a lot of yeah, they give us max frenzy. Basically can't be beaten over here. Even a frenzy or even an elusive tailwind boots can't beat this. This is like really best in slot for this build. Other than that, this shield cost me a divine. I think so. It cost me 2 divines. Yeah, so this is where the cross went a bit high because I wanted that 30% reservation efficiency. I don't want to use enlighten because I'm socket starved and I can't fit it in, and so I needed a shield with mana reservation efficiency, and I needed 30% chance to avoid elements. With that, our skill tree over here and our raider over here, we are basically element immune. As you can see, we have like way overcapped on some of them. All right, moving on, I talked about the belt and everything. I think, yeah, for the flasks, we want charge recovery rate, which is the most important mod over here, because with that your flasks are basically auto sustaining all the time. Again, charge recovery, movement speed, charge recovery, attack speed. These are like tier 2, I think. Yeah, tier 2. You're trying to look at least tier 2 charge recovery, and then after that, whatever, like the suffix can be whatever you want. Attack speed does the most damage, so that's what is over here. I'm not using a diamond flask because I'm crit capped already and I don't need it. So yep. Taste of Hate. This gives us crazy damage mitigation because of the physical from hits taken as cold. And this one is the most expensive item in the build. This is like 12 or 10 divines, but this is not needed. You can just swap this for a life flask and you'll be fine. Okay, this guy is messaging again. Right. Yep. So I went over that. Let me quickly go with the gems. For Frenzy, we have Divergent Flicker Strike, which is again a divine. You can just go for normal Flicker Strike. It's totally okay. Doesn't matter on boss DPS at all. It's just like for mapping, get extra teleporting range with this. This is just for mapping. For normal Flicker Strike is actually better on bosses. So yeah. Divergent Multi Strike gives us 10% attack speed. The normal Multi Strike is good enough. This one cost me a divine, but I wouldn't really pay if this is the last thing that you want to spend on. It's just 10% attack speed. It gives you a little bit more DPS. Ice Bite, you want 2120. This is like 40 or 50 C, I think, or maybe 100 C. It's really not much. You can get a 2020 if you're really like don't have a lot of budget. Okay, I have to trade this. Sorry. Oh my god, all the trades in the middle of the video. Oh. I hate it when people don't trade me stuff, so I always try to respond to all messages. Let me invite the other guy also and give him the item. Oh, I'll try to like edit this out of the video. Oh my god. Okay. What did this guy want? Oh, he wanted this jewel. This guy wanted 125 chaos. Okay. All right. And this guy wanted my Storm Shroud. Alright, 5 divines. Thank you very much. Right. Really sorry about that. So moving on, I think I went over the gems. A weekend added cold is actually super cheap. It's less than a divine, 110C. Trinity is like 7C, and Awaken Elemental damage with attacks. This one is the most expensive item on the build, I think. if you take away the flask, this is actually the most expensive item. This basically gives us we can run elemental we can run elemental reflect maps, so it's super useful. I would actually spend money for this. There's like 2.5 divines. Yeah, and those are my flicker stack links. You've got your normal ancestral protector, multiple totems, ancestral wall chief, culling strike. This is like very basic setup. Every like build uses this. Every melee build uses it. We've got Cast-Wind Domestic in Molten Shell, and that is because we are running Iron Reflexes. And with our Flask on, we have 39,000 armor. So basically, we are getting a big fat like shield when that goes off. You want to run it with Cast-Wind Domestic in because you don't want to like, unless you're like really good at the game and you can react and press it when you need it. This like automates it, so it's super useful. Leap Slam, since we are Raider, we are really fast. We don't need any fast attacks attached to that. We are already really fast, and you can jump around a lot. Moving on, we are using Assassin Mark, Blood Rage, Mark on Hit, and Life Tap, so that it does take away our mana. Otherwise, it costs a lot of mana. So you don't want to. You want to make sure you're running Life Tap. This Blood Rage is not important. I normally don't even use it. It just like drains my life. I don't like it. It does give us a bit more damage, but it's like bad quality of life, so I don't use it. Then we have our precision and arrogance setup. I'm running precision on my life because I couldn't fit it into my mana, and you really need precision because you want 100% hit chance. This is like super important because we're a crit build. And we have Bottle and Enlighten. Okay, so this Enlighten is completely useless. I get like a little bit like 50 more life with this. I got, or even like 20, like I think 30 more life. It's like for 30 life you don't want to spend 2 divines, like whatever, like it's a complete waste. Over here we have Grace, Herald of Ice, and Hatred. These are your 3 main auras, and this needs to go in your shield with the mana reservation efficiency. It's very important. It's in the shield. With this you can run all 3, and the Herald of Ice is really useful for map clear, but your Grace and Hatred are your most important ones. If you can't run Herald of Ice, it's okay. Your map clear will be a bit worse, but I think it's not too big a deal, and you'll lose out on some damage. I would still try to get to fit this in the build. It's like it gives quite a bit of damage, and I really like it. I really like the screen shatters, and that's the best part about playing this build. So I would super recommend using this. For the showcase, I did not use any MTX, but the Herald of Ice Celestial Herald effect looks amazing. So I would really recommend, if you're going to use it, to try that out. I think I have gone over pretty much everything. Yeah. So the way I'm sustaining Flask, by the way, like infinitely sustaining, as you can see, I put this on like 5 minutes ago and it's like still going. I think I didn't use this, but yeah, this one like is even better. Like it basically recharges automatically. It's got a long duration, like 9.8 seconds, and that's more than enough time for the Flask to come back. The hardest to infinitely sustain is the Quicksilver, and I kind of went out of my way to sustain it. You don't need to go out of your way for mapping because this will automatically sustain itself by killing mobs. I went out of my way and got like extra 3 points. So if you're like level 97 and you're not level 100, I would drop these 3 points. You'll still be able to sustain all the other Flasks, but not the Quicksilver. So I wanted to sustain the Quicksilver too, so that's why I got these 3 points. Instead of this, I could put it into damage, which would give me a lot of damage, but I want quality of life more than anything, so I put it into Flask. And I think I have spoken about pretty much everything. The masteries, Grace mastery, you want as much increased effect of non-damaging enemies as you can get. You really Flask in 1 charge. This is like really important for your Flask sustain. And crit chance, basically this is like 100% crit chance, like one of the best masteries in the game. Life, freeze duration is super important, because you want, this is basically what allows you to freeze bosses. I can even freeze uber bosses. Like seriously, everything is, I can freeze everything in the game. It's just that the pinnacle bosses, they don't get slowed like enough to like completely like get frozen, but they'll be like slowed a lot. It's just that they have this mod that they can't be slowed. So they still get frozen, but they don't. But they're like not like technically frozen. I mean, they're technically frozen, but not like really. It doesn't show up as a frozen monster in the game, but they are. Believe me, it works. Otherwise, Southport wouldn't be able to kill them, because this can only kill frozen enemies. Okay, I think I've rambled on enough. Let me know if you guys have any questions on this build. This build with the progenesis flask will come around 25 divines. Without the flask, it's a 15 divine build. And with 15 divines, you saw like I just murdered the formed, and I did some pretty crazy mods. I did a more monster life phoenix, and the map clear was super fast. This build is an all-rounder. I can basically if I in the sanctum, I can one hit pretty much everything. So yeah, it's not terrible for sanctum, even though it's flicker strike. I have cleared sanctums with this, and it's possible. You just need to get some good relics. Yep. I think I've gone over everything. Thanks, guys. Subscribe to get more videos. I'm trying to upload a lot more Path of Exile stuff. You can check out my like channel for like the other videos I've put up. And yeah, thanks for following. Thanks for subscribing. Bye.